Leadership to me is really finding a way to bring out the best in people. You can have all the best intention in the world, but at the end of the day, the way you get business done is through people. So my role as the leader is to pick the right people, make sure that they can work at the best of their potential. So, make sure that they're heard and that they're supported, remove the roadblocks, and then provide the vision of what it is that we're trying to achieve. So providing clarity is really important, and if you have all the other bits of the ingredients, then they're going to deliver that for you. The leadership skills that I think have been most critical to my success are, first and foremost, is curiosity. So I am just naturally really curious around getting to know people, and I'm really curious about how things work. I'm pretty brave, so once I know what it is that we're willing to do, then I'm willing to lead the way, and even if I'm a little bit uncertain, I don't let that on to other people, and I think that gives my people confidence. The third thing I think is just being really authentic. The more you are yourself, the more comfortable you are, and then the stronger you can be as a leader. If I think about where my leadership journey started, it probably started when I was growing up. So I was the oldest child of my family, I was the oldest cousin, I was the tallest person at school, and I didn't choose to be the leader, but I had a natural comfort around, taking the lead, making decisions. I think that part of becoming a leader is being willing to be really diligent in what you do. So I was a really good performer. I try to be really easy to work with, but I was also willing to do things that perhaps other people wouldn't put their hand up for. I've taken those things right through my career. I try to be that person that people can look to take on the things that perhaps other people don't want to do, and then you naturally take on more of those things, and that's how I've progressed my career. A really early lesson for me was that you need to stop and build relationships first, and you need to have that real curiosity about who people are and what it is they do before you start the business conversation. If I think about the person who has influenced me the most, it was probably my grandmother. So my grandmother ran a supermarket in the 40s and 50s, as well as having a family. She really taught us, we've got a very strong extended family, that you need to work hard, you need to be of service to other people, but you need to build a really strong family. And I think having that really good work-life balance is one of the reasons that I've been able to be successful. Obviously, I'm a woman in a leadership role, and I've been in an industry that is incredibly male-dominated. I became a manager very early in my career, and I thought that the way for me to be successful was to be very strong so that I could be an equal. And I was often, in a room, and I still am often in a room where I am the only woman. What I have learned is that you can just be yourself. You don't actually have to put on a facade of trying to match up to masculine energy, and that in fact the reason that you are in that room is that you bring your own diversity of thought, and that is valued. I was regularly told that I was too ambitious, too aggressive, and I think that on reflection, that was probably because I was trying to fit in with the group of people that I was around, and now I've learnt that that's actually not what you need to do. I think the world's a much better place these days than it was 20 years ago, but you can just be yourself. Bringing your whole self to work is a real thing, and that's where you get the best out of people. I would say don't be afraid to have time off. So I wish that if I had my time over again, I would have taken my full maternity leave. At the time, I didn't really have that opportunity. I was so petrified that I was going to lose my job that I went back to work 11 weeks after having my baby, which was a really bad mistake. I always encourage all the women that work for me that choose to have children to take the full maternity leave, because you don't get that time again. And of course, you should always put yourself forward, even in a room full of men. They need your support there, so that would be the learning that I would take. So if I was to think of 3 words that summed up my leadership style, I would say brave. I'm willing to do some pretty gutsy things, and I think that gives my people confidence that we're on the right track. Collaborative. I do want to be part of a team. I don't want to be working on my own, and so I'm very inclusive in my decision making and our strategic thinking. And the final one is communication. So I know that my role is to communicate to people the why, and I spend a lot of my time trying to craft that skill. Everybody is different, but generally people have the intent of wanting you to do well, and so if you just lean into that and learn everything you can, then you're probably going to be successful. Often what I see is that people perhaps dip out too early. You know, there are lots of hard things that are going to happen in your career, but they will pass. So if you hang in there, then you will probably do well. You know, have a really curious nature, find out what other people are doing, find out about other people, learn as much about the business as you possibly can. Be easy to work with. So, you know, the people that we see that do really well are the ones that are, you know, open to doing what's required, they're not difficult, and they build a reputation of being somebody that you can go to and rely on. The best leaders that I see are people that listen and say less words. So I always think the smartest person in the room is the person who says the least. They are very clear on what the outcomes need to be, so they have an absolutely dogmatic view on what the future will be, and they are very clearly able to articulate it. And they are good to people. You know, if you don't have the best people on your team, you can't be successful, and you won't get the best people unless you're good to them.